The 2026 NFL Draft is wide open at the quarterback position. There doesn't seem to be a consensus top guy at this point in the cycle, but there are 4 or 5 guys fighting for that positioning that all have the opportunity to be taken in the first round. We have talked about a few of those guys on the channel already, but today I want to highlight who I would say is pretty clearly the most fun quarterback in the 2026 NFL Draft class, and that is Oklahoma quarterback Johnmateer. Mateer was on an absolute tear before suffering an injury, but it looks like he will be back against Texas, and his high-end moments are some of the best in the class. How high could we hear Mateer's name called in the 2026 NFL Draft, and what does his NFL outlook look like? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We do tons of these NFL Draft prospect spotlights like this every week on the channel, and if you enjoy, ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Comment down below which prospects you guys want to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. Mateer was a 3-star recruit in the 2022 recruiting class. He was initially committed to Central Arkansas before flipping his commitment to Washington State. He sat behind Cam Ward for his first 2 seasons with the Cougars, and he got his first starting opportunity in 2024, and he was one of the most electric quarterbacks in all of college football. Mateer finished the season with 3,136 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, most electric players in the country. He entered the transfer portal and followed his offensive coordinator to the SEC and joined the Oklahoma Sooners, and so far to start this year, Mateer is firmly in the Heisman race. He has 1,209 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on the year, and he has had some big-time clutch moments through the season that I think NFL teams are really going to love. The first thing I really like about Johnmateer is just how natural of a passer that he is. The ball can absolutely fly off of Mateer's hands, and his throws look so effortless. There really doesn't seem to be a throw that's unavailable to him. His arm is made of elastic, and he shows the ability to throw the football at a variety of different arm angles. He also has ridiculous arm talent, and I think he throws one of the most beautiful deep balls of any of the quarterbacks in this class. There isn't a throw that Mateer can't make, and I think that alone makes him a super intriguing quarterback prospect. But not only does Mateer flash elite arm talent, he's also an incredible athlete as well. Oklahoma and Washington State both have done an excellent job of tapping into Mateer's ability as a designed quarterback runner. It's not just on RPOs, but they're designing quarterback runs for Mateer, whether it be QB power or wide zone looks. Mateer has the speed and creativity as a runner to make an impact. Mateer ran for over 1,000 yards in 2024, and in 2025, Mateer already has 211 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. He's an incredibly tough quarterback who takes big hits at times, but I think his athletic abilities are another thing that NFL teams are really going to value. I also think that outside of structure, Johnmateer makes some really great throws. I think his pocket presence is fantastic. He's awesome at navigating the pocket, feeling where the rush is coming from, and does a good job of throwing on the move, particularly when rolling right. I think his pocket presence is one of the biggest strengths in his game, and that's something that NFL teams value very heavily in the draft. Mateer is easily the most fun quarterback to watch in this draft class, without question. His high-end plays are incredible. However, I do think Mateer has a bit of a long ways to go before I can view him as the top quarterback prospect in this class. For one thing, I think Mateer has to improve his processing ability. There are far too many instances on tape where Mateer will get caught staring down his first read, and I feel like as a result, it leads to pressure and him having to create for himself more than he should. I want to see him do a better job of scanning the field, going through his reads and progressions at a quicker rate, because right now he feels like he is too stare happy, and I want to see that improve for him. I also think overall mechanics are something else people will bring up as a potential weakness with Mateer. He is very erratic, really isn't much consistency in his throwing motions or his footwork, and I think that could potentially scare teams away. I also think decision making has got to improve. There are positive moments on tape, but there are so many instances of him throwing into double coverage or throwing across the field across his body that just I don't think are going to work in the NFL. Mateer has a near 5% turnover-worthy play rate, which would put him within the bottom 5 amongst NFL quarterbacks in that stat. He has to take better care of the football, and his decision-making, particularly with interior pressure, has got to improve. Lastly, I think Mateer has to work on throwing with more touch. Right now, I think he throws with so much velocity and zip across the middle, but I want to see him settle down. Throw with more timing, more anticipation, and master the art of the touch pass. I think when he misses high because he's trying to thread a tight needle so often, and I think he needs to tempo some of his passes a little bit better. I also think size is going to be a limitation for Mateer. He is a pretty small quarterback, all things considered, measuring in at 6'1", 224 pounds. While he is well built, he is just a quarterback that doesn't have the greatest measurables, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if his measurables cause him to slide a little bit in the draft. John Mateer is an awesome player to watch, and it's easy to see why he's a fan favorite. He's a great athlete, he's got a good arm, but I would be lying if I said his mechanics and overall ball control and accuracy didn't really worry me about Mateer as a prospect. For that reason, Mateer is my number 5 quarterback in the draft class, but he still is a top 50 prospect to me. I think his high highs are incredibly intriguing, and I think he has upside to be a good starter in the NFL. In terms of a scheme fit, I think John Mateer would fit best in a very spread, RPO-heavy attack with a lot of designed quarterback runs in there. That's a lot of what we have seen Mateer be so successful at doing, is marrying the run and pass game, and I think an NFL team that doesn't tap into his athleticism are doing themselves a major disservice, and that's where I think he should be playing in the NFL. So many people are comparing Mateer to Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to be honest, as Baker Mayfield's biggest fan, I really don't see the comparisons. I think a lot of helmet scouting is going on, but I don't think Mateer has quite the arm of Baker Mayfield, and I don't think Baker Mayfield has quite the athleticism of John Mateer. Yes, they both have good pocket presence and maneuver the pocket well, but I see a little bit more Russell Wilson in John Mateer's game. The athleticism factor checks out, particularly in Russ's prime where he was so good as a designed quarterback runner. But I think in terms of size and ball control, Mateer has a lot more like Russ, where he puts the ball into harm's way more than he probably should, but he's got a cannon, he can hit the deep ball, and I think it's a best case scenario. Mateer can turn into a Russ type of prospect at the NFL level, but I do see a lot of similarities in their game. John Mateer is electric. He's maybe the most fun player to watch in the entire country when he's on, and I do think the upside is high. He has a lot to clean up, but ultimately, I believe that John Mateer will be a top 50 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.